Let's bring in Antony Loewenstein. He's the author of The Palestine Laboratory, a book on Israel's arms and surveillance industry. He joins us live from Sydney. Antony, always good to have you with us. So, look, Israel says this was a limited, precise operation. It's now finished. What's your assessment of the strikes on Iran, and what did they achieve?
It was largely performative. And what I mean by that is that Israel was always going to strike Iran back. We're in this sort of very dangerous tit-for-tat process, which obviously has been escalating. I'm not minimising it, but this was not something that I think Israel would want to have done. What I mean by that is, had the US not probably put some brakes on what Israel was targeting, my sense is, speaking to various people, that Israel would have liked to have gone after oil facilities or even nuclear targets within Iran. Israel did not do that. And my sense is that either Antony Blinken or Biden or Harris or someone in the administration said this is not going to happen a week out from a US election, which is on a knife edge and may well go to Trump, especially if oil prices suddenly spike in the coming week. So what does it achieve? Not much, frankly, from Israel's perspective, because the rules of the game have not changed. I mean, Israel is committing absolutely beyond words ethnic cleansing in northern Gaza. The images we're getting out of there and what I'm hearing is just apocalyptic. The war in Gaza continues. The southern part of Gaza and central and Lebanon also continues. So in terms of Iran, there is no real interest on the Iranian side to have full-blown war. And I would even argue on the Israeli side, they do not want full-blown war because they know that without American support, that war will not be won or even fought particularly justly.
And that's an interesting point you make, Antony, because we know the Biden administration had been urging the Israelis to limit, to calibrate its retaliation and not hit, as you say, Iranian nuclear and oil and gas facilities. But on a sort of broader level, how worried is the Biden administration about how Israel is prosecuting these wars and these direct attacks on Iran?
I mean, on one hand, I wish I could say they seem concerned, but the fact is we're 12 plus months into this horrific situation in Gaza, Lebanon and beyond. And the US has been Israel's main benefactor and armor and funder. So, yes, they express some concern publicly from the State Department, even Harris or Biden or Antony Blinken. I mean, it's always a concerning sign. When Antony Blinken gets sent back to the Middle East, you always know that violence is going to go up. That's been the case month after month after month. I mean, in the end, I think the US does not want to have full-blown war in the Middle East because it's about to be a US election. But even if there wasn't an election, I don't sense, despite the last 12 months, that Washington actually wants to be alongside Israel in a full-blown war with Iran, even though they don't particularly like the rulers in Tehran. So in some ways, it's almost like Israel is the unruly child that the US has no interest in reining in. And it's often the case that I've asked in the last 12 months, who exactly is a superpower here? It is Israel or is it the US? Because often it feels like Israel is the one in charge.
Let me get a final thought from you, Antony. This is more sort of like a personal anecdote. I mean, Israel is now in direct confrontation, as you pointed out, with Iran. In addition to its wars in Gaza, its war in Lebanon, do Israelis and Jewish people around the world feel much safer as a result of all this conflict?
Look, it's a really good question. I mean, I guess I would say depend which Jews you're asking. I mean, certainly from my perspective as someone who's Jewish, and I think a sizable proportion of Jews in the diaspora, we feel despair that this is making all of us, and I mean people in general, not just Jews, but far less safe. I mean, Israel off the leash, Israel completely without restraint, the deep dehumanization we're seeing, the racism displayed by Israeli actions is horrific. And if you ask me, how do Israeli Jews feel about it? Again, hard to generalize, but many support what Israel is doing. I mean, Netanyahu, if there was an election now, he would likely win with a far-right coalition. Now, of course, there are Israeli Jews who oppose what he's doing. That's obviously true. But I think you have to not forget that many Israelis do not want to see what Israel is doing in Gaza or beyond. The media is not showing them, and they're not curious to find out. So, but many Jews, including me, are distraught beyond belief.
Antony Loewenstein, always good to get your thoughts and your analysis, Antony. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you.